Hey everyone, this is Josh from the Gaming Manual, and on this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Buggy, we will be discussing Mega Man 4 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Mega Man 4 was the first game that I'd ever gotten that actually belonged to me personally, and not just the whole family. I remember getting this for my 6th birthday, and of course with Pharaoh Man blasting away on the cover like that had to be the first level that I tried. Which may be part of the reason why I think Pharaoh Man has one of the best levels and fantastic music, but who knows. Back then, it took me at least 2 weeks to beat it, but now I can beat it within an hour. The experience though hasn't changed. For me, it has become more of a comfort game that I play on almost a weekly basis, as I really do enjoy the game for what it has to offer.
Before we get started, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow when you do so. Alright, let's get started.
The Good. The Plasma Cannon Upgrade. Story-wise, Dr. Light created this upgrade to help Mega Man deal with Dr. Cossack's robots. And as for the gameplay, it was a huge game changer, one that I personally thought was a great addition. The Plasma Cannon is great, because now you're able to charge a shot that normally did 1 point of damage into a larger shot that could deal 3 points of damage. The shot itself isn't much larger than a normal shot, so you'll still need good aim to make the most of it. But now you can deal with stronger enemies without the aid of a boss's weapon. There are a couple of enemies, like Skeleton Joe,
Hello there.
that can only be destroyed with the use of the Plasma Cannon. Overall, it's not required to master this new shot, as the game can be beaten without the use of the Plasma Cannon at all. Finally, for the first time since Mega Man 1, you can actually complete a Buster-only challenge, as there are no bosses that are immune to the Mega Buster and the Plasma Cannon. Of course, this only applies to those crazy enough, like us, who think the game needs more of a challenge.
To infinity and beyond!
Yeah!
New hidden weapons. Balloon and wire. At first glance, these may seem like discarded or random weapons that have very limited uses or even just a gimmick. However, I find myself using these as primary tools for navigating both Dr. Cossack's and Dr. Wiley's castles, as they are far more flexible than Rush Coil and Jet are at times. They also add a lot of fun to the game by finding ways to use them in unintended ways, which I'm going to go more into in the Buggy section, because, oh boy, these weapons sure can give you some bizarre results. Unfortunately, the only spike fall in Mega Man 4 is where the wire weapon is hidden. By this point, it's become a normal procedure to have to do a spike fall in Wiley's castle. The balloon weapon is located in Pharaoh Man's stage. You obtain it by jumping over this gap instead of falling down. You can also use Rush Coil to assist with clearing the gap. Then you travel through some more quicksand, jumping over some more of these enemies here, finally to obtain this green capsule with a B on it. Not only does it grant you access to the balloon weapon, it skips you ahead to the halfway checkpoint. Mega Man 4 music and level design. In my opinion, they're the best in the whole series. Pharaoh Man has the best music, with Dr. Cossack's Stages 3 and Dr. Wiley's Stages 2 both being very close for second. But what really sets it apart is how well the level design is to make it feel like you really are trying to raid a tomb. You run through the desert sands, find a hidden entrance to a tomb with a path filled with robot enemies and traps leading you to a fight with none other than Pharaoh Man himself. What more could you ask for? All of the levels are thematic with great music, each showcasing a different gimmick that feels well thought out and scales nicely in challenge, so they become more complex naturally without feeling too cheap or too challenging for a new beginner. Here's an example in Bright Man's stage, where there's a little bonus area that has a 1-up and E-tank, but requires some well-timed jumps to get back safely. You could also use Rush or the balloon weapon to help ensure a safe return. Toadman and Ringman I found are the two easiest stages to start with. Both have mechanics that affect your movement, but are easy enough to learn. Plus, both bosses are straightforward with very simple patterns to learn. Both of these I find no trouble taking down with just your standard Mega Buster or Plasma Cannon. Dive Man would be the third suggestion. This level is a little harder due to some trickier jumps that result in instant death, but the boss is even easier as all he does is go back and forth. The bad. Unlike Mega Man 2 and 3, where a stage could not be played again after defeating the Robot Master, you can replay any level as many times as you want, without having to fight the boss again. Personally, I see it as a bad because it makes the E-Tank, which was a limited resource, now farmable, because even a game over will not reset your E-Tank stock. And a good place to farm E-Tanks would be Skullman stage, as it has 2 E-Tanks plus Eddie, a new companion that can sometimes give you an E-Tank as well. However, don't become overly reliant on them, because both Dr. Cossack's and Dr. Wiley's castles have a limited amount, and the stages can no longer be replayed. You can, however, start with 9 before going in, but don't expect to hold on to them forever. Finding the hidden weapons. The classic trope where secrets were hidden in the game was just a normal everyday occurrence. Looking back on it, I question, how did we ever discover these? The wire is in Dive Man stage after the checkpoint. Having defeated the second robot whale, there'll be a pit that looks exactly like all of the other pits that kill you. And if it hadn't been for me messing around and jumping into the next screen, I may have never found it. And I did die the first time because I didn't expect a spike fall. What I expected was a pit. And as I already stated, Balloon is located in Pharaoh Man stage, and that one I found on accident because after the wire discovery, I started exploring everywhere. I checked the gap in both Dustman stage, which led to nowhere, and here in Pharaoh Man stage, which baffled me because it led to an entire new area, and I couldn't get back, making me think maybe I had broken or glitched the entire game somehow. I do wish more Mega Man games experimented with extra weapons. Mega Man 5 has the Star Arrow, and 6 has the Energy Balancer, which became a staple after that. However, after that, it just sort of stopped. They did have upgrades, but they weren't actual weapons themselves, and it was a very unfortunate turn of events. But at least these weapons still live on in the Mega Man Maker. Once again, Rush Marine is back, and for the last time too, which isn't a huge loss due to how limited this form of Rush is. There are now 2 levels that can make full use of Rush Marine, but neither of them seem to give that much of an advantage. In fact, if you use it in Dive Man stage, it can lead to a quick death if you're not careful. I only ever use Rush Marine for glitches, or in this one tiny little gap in Wiley's first stage, just to make him feel important. Thanks, Rush. The Buggy. Rush glitches. Well, since we're already talking about Rush, let's discuss some glitches that involve him. Here's a fun and easy one to pull off in Dive Man stage during the second half. If you've defeated Toadman, you'll have Rush Marine, which can move freely in the water, and above the water too. Wait, what? That's right. If you move Rush all the way to the top of the screen with the water level and then let go of the D-pad, Rush will remain floating above the water. You can even move left and right freely. It can be helpful for skipping the part with the floating spikes. Just be careful when you're transitioning to a new screen. Rush Jet has a new ability to bend reality. Whenever Mega Man takes a hit, Rush warps back to watch it happen. This can be done anywhere, but here's an example in Skullman stage. As you can see, when Rush is moving, and only when it's moving, teleports under Mega Man whenever you take a hit. Not sure how helpful this is, but it is interesting to see how the game tracks Mega Man, the weapons, and the different objects all on screen at the same time. Another fun thing about Rush Jet, you can slide over him in certain places. This is absolutely pointless and can even lead to a death if you're just playing around too much. You can also make Mega Man glow if you're charging a shot and release it during a long slide. Again, no benefit. but it does look cool. Dr. Cossack's Stage 3. The whole level is very glitchy. Add in weapons that can cause, or they themselves are glitches, and you have a playground of fun things that you can do in this level, often by complete accident. First off, you can skip the whole first section by jumping down to this lower platform and using the wire weapon above you. Because the level auto-scrolls to the right, you'll eventually get pushed off, but the game doesn't know to break the wire effect because you didn't jump or take damage. So instead, you fly up into the infinite void above you. And yes, you keep going up. At any point, if you pause or jump, you'll break the wire effect and cause Mega Man to start falling back down. How long do you have to wait? Well, that all depends. How long did you let Mega Man get sucked up into the void? After the halfway checkpoint, the screen scrolls again, but this time platforms appear as you move forward, and they'll either fall down while you're riding on them, or accelerate upwards when you move off of them. But if you want to make this part even easier, or just fun to mess around with, the platforms can be frozen in place using the flash stopper, even before they spawned in. Since there are very few enemies in this whole section, this part can become a bit boring, as the only challenge presented to you can be circumvented simply by using a weapon as it was intended. Not too much to say about this one, but be sure to stop its usage before reaching the end, or you may find yourself killed at the edge of the screen. The deadliest enemy of them all. Stupid ass game. Then there's the boss. Once again, flash stopper can be used for some unique behavior, but only if you want to drive yourself insane like I did, when I learned that if you killed the second boss with the weapon active, the fight doesn't end. Instead, you just stand there waiting to hear the victory music, maybe try jumping around or using some weapons, and then you realize the game might be soft locked. And it would be too, if not for the gracious floor of spikes below you. I had a similar problem occur when I killed the same boss using the drill bomb, which unfortunately I was unable to replicate. I was going to include these glitches as part of the bad, since they can lead to some very upsetting outcomes, but chose to keep them all together, since they are results of weapons being used as intended. So, once again, we're talking about the balloon weapon. I discovered it when I was trying to get an E-tank in Dr. Cossack's third stage, right before the boss fight. Later I learned it could be done anywhere, either by accident or curiosity. A simple glitch that kills you because the game thinks you are actually being crushed, similar to the trash compactor in Dustman's stage. This is a glitch that only exists because of the screen moving, and a check was needed to make sure that Mega Man didn't get pushed into the floor, which could of course cause problems. When Mega Man slides on the balloon, the game thinks you're moving vertically while sliding and will perform the same check. So just be careful when you're going for that E-tank near the boss room. Not as interesting, but you can also use the wire on the rainbow and ring bridges in the Ringman stage. You never know when it might save you. Pharaoh Shot can be charged and fired, meaning you can use it an infinite amount of times as long as it's never fired, because it only consumes the energy upon release. The best use of this can be heavily exploited during the final fight against Wiley, or just for fun to make the fight easier. It's how I've always fought Wiley myself. It's too much fun to not fight him this way. You can also outrun the Pharaoh Shot by sliding, or in Toadman stage on the section where the waterways are, as they push you around, moving you slightly faster. It's a very useful way of protecting yourself from enemies above you. Makes you wonder how Wiley failed with such a powerful robot master. Oh, that's right. It was built by Dr. Cossack. So then why are we fighting them again during the boss gauntlet? You know what? Let's not think about it and move on. The Drill Bomb. In Wiley Stage 2. The boss can only be damaged by hitting the green looking gem or button. However, if you manually explode the drill bomb before hitting the area, not only does it do a point of damage, but for some reason it also removes the boss's hitbox. You can safely stand under or behind the boss and not take any damage while using the ring boomerang or plasma cannon to attack. Either way, the threat of the boss is completely gone and now a complete joke. The final glitch is one you shouldn't do unless you know beforehand that you're going to softlock yourself. On the screen where Wiley tries to escape after the boss gauntlet, as you will actually kill Wiley, you'll stop the game from loading the next section, since the trigger to end the boss fight and play the victory music only happens when Wiley crosses a certain threshold during his escape, which won't happen now that we finally put an end to Wiley and his evil schemes. Mega Man 4 is easily one of my favorite Mega Man games, but that is because I believe it truly is one of the best gaming experiences for the Nintendo. Yes, there are a few bugs, but I find that each playthrough is as fun as the first time because of how well the game is put together. Great music and level designs, perfect difficulty, and feels far more rewarding for using weapons freely, whenever or wherever, as none of them feel too good or too worthless. Well, excluding Rush Marine, of course. The less said about that, the better. Poor bastard won't make it to the 5th game. If you're a fan of Nintendo games, classic games, or Mega Man games, Mega Man 4 is one that is worth playing and an experience you don't want to miss out on. Let us know of your opinions of the game in the comments below, and if you liked what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. This is Josh from the Gaming Manual, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah!